Hi, and
Hi.
welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures That Outperform. I'm Frank Warner. I'm here with my co-host Terry Mays. Every week we bring you information on how to build a really great culture. You are the product, and a better you is a solution. That's why you come here. You come here to learn how you can outperform others by using the human side of business as a tool to improve how you collaborate as an individual contributor or as you lead. And that's really very important. If you've been joining us, we're on a belonging series. In the era of the Great Resignation, belonging matters. Belonging means your people aren't going to quit, you're going to keep them. So you need to know and understand how to create a deep sense of belonging. Last week, if you missed it, you should go back and start there. We covered what is belonging. This week, we're going to go into belonging takes root. Next week, we're going to talk about how to get an even deeper sense of belonging with the roots grow deeper. So this is a great series. Just a quick introduction by Terry and I to start. I'm Frank Wanderer. I'm the founder and CEO of PeopleProductive. We bring this show to you as a service to the community. We help companies outperform by creating cultures that outperform because they use the time, talent, energy of their people most effectively. That's what really matters. That means the human side of business is a tool they can employ to build an incredible workplace. Tara?
Yes, and I'm Terry Mays. I'm a certified culture engineer with emphasis on helping companies bring out the best in their people.
Excellent. So, quick recap. Last week we went into what is belonging. The most important thing to take away is that belonging is not an emotion, it's a feeling. It's everything that happens around them. And, it's that cumulative experience. So, today we're going to talk about, belonging takes root. That means the people initially start to feel a sense of belonging. What can you do in a company? What can you do as a leader to create that? I'll start by saying I think you have to have a welcoming culture. When somebody arrives, they should feel totally welcome in the place. That means you've orchestrated, you've scripted something that makes it feel like they've joined a special place in your company. Some companies get everybody together, used to be in person, now it's on Zoom, and they all pop in suddenly, right? You can have them all wait in the waiting room, and the person is their first day, they're getting a little orientation. Suddenly, everybody pops and they appear on the Zoom call and they all welcome them. And that's just such a wow experience. I mean, incredible, right? Wow, all these people took time to welcome me. I'm here. And then they got to be welcoming individually. That is the initial impression. Initial impressions matter a lot. And so, Tara, what happens after that?
Yes, so that initial impression means so much to people. It is so important because when people come into a new workplace, they're assessing the room. They're assessing to see, am I are these people a threat or am I going to be welcomed? Do they care about me? What do they think about me? And so that person is really doing that assessing just as part of being a human. That's just how we're wired. And as you begin to let people know that you welcome them, you make them feel like they're a part of the team right away. You give them the right tools that they need. So making sure they have the laptop, the pen and paper, or whatever it is that they need, any kind of equipment that they need to be successful in their job. You want to make sure you provide that right away. You don't want people wasting time looking for supplies and trying to figure out how the place works. You want to pair them with somebody that can help them. Show them the little things like where the restroom is, where's the cafeteria if there's one on site, if there are some good restaurants in the area. You want to make sure that person feels like they really do care about me as an individual. So you want to take that welcoming spirit and then transition into caring, letting that person know that you genuinely care about them. Let them know that you're there for them to help them transition through the process. Speak some encouraging words to let them know that you're excited for them to be there and you know they're going to do a great job. You're looking forward to working with them. All of those are things that calm your nerves. That first day jitter is just like going to high school all over again. I keep saying it. It's just that we're just going to high school all over again. It's the first day of school.
Man,
Everybody
we
just
just
wants to fit in. They just want to find their crowd where they fit in. So make it easy for people. Don't make it
Yeah.
hard. Don't make it, there are always going to be mean people in the office. Let's just face it. Not everybody is just warm, sunshiny kind of person. So let them meet those people last. Make sure you have the sunniest person in the office greet them. Have people around them that are knowledgeable, that are helpful. You want to make sure you put those people out front first because it's going to make such a huge difference and such a huge impact on that first day impression.
Yeah, and it's Terry's just absolutely right. You go from this welcoming environment to one where people care about you. And the notion of having somebody assigned to help that individual, we used to call it the first friend program. And you
Mhm.
want to pick a really good first friend, somebody who's got a little warmth, they're fun, they're going to really help them on board. Like Terry said, they're going to say, you're going to love it here. Setting those impressions and creating a little optimism about the place. You want the person to go, wow, I really made a good move coming here. I love this place. Because that's going to open them up. They're going to be warmer. And
Yes,
warmth really matters. You want leaders to lead with warmth every day when they're leading. I mean, this is science. Harvard did a whole paper, Connect and Lead. You should read it. But you lead with warmth. Warmth is a vibe. So we're talking about feelings and vibes, not emotions here. And that's what makes this different, right? So you can wrap your arms around this little, start to think about it. You really want people to come in warmly. That means there's a smile, they're leaning into the person, they're relaxed, their body language is open and inviting, and leaders should be aware of this. And if they're online, they should be smiling. Don't have them sit with Mr. Grumpy. You certainly don't want that to be the case, right? Mr. Grumpy is a disaster. Don't assign them to work with that person for the first week because it's miserable. Try
right.
to make sure people know their role is to welcome the person, to introduce themselves, to find out a little bit about them. It really matters. This stuff's just so important.
Yes. It matters. And even in this workplace where some of us are hybrid, some of us are going back into the office, some of us are full time remote. What we're talking about today, this is that whole welcoming experience that people get, that feeling of being welcomed into the group, that can happen virtually as well because belonging is a vibe. It's something that you pick up on that's not tangible. It's a feeling. It's something where you get that sense that people really are excited to meet you. They're excited and it's genuine. So this is another one of those things like caring. You cannot fake it till you make it. You really do have to care about it. You really do have to genuinely welcome people and make them feel like they belong in the group. And that vibe, they'll pick up on that vibe right away. It's something that people will instantly feel that connection with people in the room, or they will feel like they're being isolated immediately, or they'll feel that coldness when you come into the space. All of that, people pick up on that vibe. They can tell if people are in a room. Have you ever gotten on an elevator with two people that were arguing? And then you step onto the elevator and that stillness that's there, you can feel it. You can actually feel it in the atmosphere. You can sense it from the conversations and body languages, especially with a husband and a wife. If you ever seen them, they're coming into
Oh,
church and they're
yeah.
happy and smiling, but they've been fighting all the way to church. Like you see it on people's faces. You can really, if you're observant and if you pay attention, close attention to people, you can pick up on that vibe. And so people will pick up on the vibe in an office. They'll know from the
Fake
very
happy.
first whether or not they feel like they've made a mistake. Is this going to be a good place for me? Or maybe I'm going to have to work at it to fit in here. All of those things, you don't want people feeling like that. You want them right out the gate to know immediately, we are excited to have you here. We want you to be here. We know that you have a great skill set that you're bringing to the table, and we're excited for you to be a part of the team.
Yeah. Super you know, super important. You want people to really connect immediately, right? And like Terry says, the person walks in and they've been fighting and they've got that fake smile and people see through this stuff immediately. That fake happiness. Hey, it's a great place. I love it. Hopefully you do have a great place, right? And that's the number one goal is to create a great culture because a lot of this stuff takes care of itself when you have a great culture where people care about one another. You have norms to welcome people. Stuff really, really, really is important. And, when you look at it, as these people start to come over and introduce themselves to find out more about the person, they should try to help that individual find meaning in the work. They know the work, they know what they do is important, how it's important. They should know what the role of that new person is. They've got to try to help them connect to that deeper meaning in the company. And if they could do that, now there's another stimulant that helps the roots grow a little bit, because you want that root growth to start. You want them to take root in your soil as soon as possible. And these are important
That's
steps you can take.
That's right. You don't want the differences that are there or anything about that person to make them feel like they're being ostracized. Or if there are differences, whether it's from race or gender or whatever it might be, don't let those differences divide you. Let those be things that bring just diversity to the group and different perspectives. You'll be surprised to hear something from a different perspective that causes you to change how you think, that opens your mind to different ideas and perspectives that you may not have ever had before. So use all of those things to your advantage. Don't allow those differences to be something that hinder or that take away from the group cohesiveness, because having a difference of opinion really is a place where there's growth. There's an opportunity for growth. You can't grow if everybody thinks the same. We're all the same. We're doing things the same. If everything's the same, there's no growth area. But when you have somebody that's different, that has different perspectives, a different way of looking at things, honor that, respect that, and listen to what people are saying, because people just want to be heard. They want to be valued. They want to feel like they're making a difference in their workplace. And one way you do that is by honoring the differences.
Yeah. Maybe we should take a secret vote on people all thinking and doing things the same way. Ready? There we go. But anyway,
Yes, that is so last generation.
yeah,
I don't know.
I know.
It's just not helpful. It really isn't.
No,
When you think
it
about
doesn't work.
creativity and you've got a room full of people that think exactly the same, you're really not going to have any genuine and creative thoughts coming out of that group. You're going to have the same kinds of thoughts that you've already had, because there's no new energy infused, there's no different perspective infused. And then once you get that different perspective in the room, don't ostracize that person for being different, because that's the whole purpose, is to have a different perspective. So lean into that difference and try to understand it. Use it as an opportunity to learn something new, learn something different that you may never have learned before.
Very important, because they're coming from somewhere else. They have different experiences, different perspectives. Some of them may be very valuable. I mean, that's why you're bringing people in from different organizations. You're trying to get skills and infuse skills and understanding and different ways of looking at things that can help your company, because there are many ways to do everything.
That's right.
Also, the whole notion of empathy and being a good listener. You really want to make sure that the people who are welcoming this individual into the place aren't just talking about work. Hey, let me tell you about the work, this project. They got to talk to them, find out something about who they are. People are more than their job. They should try. This is their chance to get to meet them and know them. That may create a much more welcoming place, sends a message. This company is about the people and not just the work. And I think that really matters. That's another root stimulant.
Yes, absolutely. You want to make connections with people. And
Mhm.
really, if you spend time with people and talk to people, just being open and honest, you'll find something that you can have a conversation about. Even if it's just something that seems so frivolous, find one thing that you can make a connection with people over and continue to follow up on that connection, grow that connection. Like, people just really need to have a connection at work. And these days, with all of the engagement surveys and all the companies that are out there assessing engagement, especially with the great resignation that's happening, people more now than ever have been interested in how engaged are their employees. Having that connection with people makes them engaged in the work when they start to understand the purpose behind what they're doing, why they're doing. Simon Sinek has great information out there about starting with the why, but you really do have to understand why you're doing what you're doing. People don't want to feel like they're just doing busy work that's just taking up time in the day. They really want to feel like they're making valuable contributions to the company, and they need to have that why in order to get there. So make sure that you're doing that for people. Have them work together in groups so that they can start to build those interpersonal relationships and create some of those inside jokes. There's nothing more fun than having inside jokes on the team. Make sure you bring in the new people. You make sure you let them know what the inside joke is. But
Yeah.
having those inside jokes, having those times where you can reflect back and on the fun things that happened. When you don't feel like you fit in an organization, you're not going to be having a whole lot of fun. You're going to be stressed out a lot because you're trying to
Yeah.
find that space where you feel.
That's
Yes. So you want to have fun. You've got to be at work 8 to 10 hours a day. You want to have fun. You got to relax and we've talked about fun being a
true.
counter to stress. You really do want people to be able to relax and have some fun.
Yeah, very important. And when you get down to it, the leaders have to let the person know that this is a place they can grow. That it's a nurturing company, that they coach and develop people. Everybody wants to grow. And that creates more root growth, right? Wow, this is a place I really should put down roots. And that's what this is all about. You've got to create an environment that's welcoming where people are going to put down roots, and it's up to you to make those roots grow. And then you don't
Yes,
have to worry about the great resignation, right? You've got the great retention going on, which is really what
right.
matters.
That's right.
More important.
Marcelo, can you bring us the key takeaways? So we've shared some really good things here. Hopefully you can
Hey,
use
Tara,
these
I
as.
must commend you on this. I thought you did such a great job on this one. I loved it when I
Oh, well,
saw it.
thank you.
I love
Thank you.
roots. I mean, this is what it's all about. That is the
Yeah.
new employee coming in a year later, right? They're bearing fruit. They put down roots. I mean, this is perfect. That is the image.
Yes, absolutely. So you want their roots to be really deep. You don't want it to just be a little like some of the weeds. You can just reach down and pull them up really quickly, or a little tiny roots that don't go very deep. You want people to plant themselves in your organization, and you want their roots to go deep, because the deeper their roots, the more productive they're going to be on the upward end where they're able to produce fruit. So really think about that from your organization perspective and look at how you can find those areas where people might be able to make better connections. Look at how people might be able to develop those deeper roots, because it's going to make such a difference in your organization. And tenure is not necessarily a deep root. So just because people have worked at the company for 20 or 30 years doesn't mean that they have deep roots. It just means that they haven't left yet, but they're not necessarily engaged just because they've been there for a long time. So really do consider how you can help people to plant themselves in an organization where you start to see some of that wonderful fruit coming forward. So we started off this conversation with making sure that people are warmly welcomed. That you want them to feel like they can plant themselves in your organization. That is so key. Those first impressions, they matter. We can't stress that enough. The first day that a person comes to a new job, they are making an assessment about the rest of their career based on what they make
Yeah.
or who
Did
they
I
meet.
make a good choice or not? Right.
Absolutely. You're thinking
That's
about
what
all
you're
those
doing.
things, as on that very first day. And that first impression is everything. So take it seriously. Make that moment count. Take that as an opportunity to get that person to feel like they are part of a great team. Show them that you care. Caring is that gateway. It's going to open the door for so many wonderful things for people to know that they belong in this organization. And you want to foster an environment for caring and acceptance. So you want people to feel like I'm accepted just like I am. I'm accepted for who I am and for what I bring to the organization. I'm valued. I'm appreciated. And again, don't let those differences divide you. Use the differences as opportunities to learn and to grow. And then nurture people and help them find the meaning in the work that they're doing. It's going to make them even more productive. And those roots will just grow deeper and deeper as they understand the meaning and the purpose behind what they're doing. And then this last one I cannot stress enough: listen, 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 and listen some more. People want to be heard. They want to be valued. And a lot of organizations are losing some great people because they're not listening. They're not listening and they're not doing anything about what they're hearing from the people that they are listening to. So
Mhm.
observe people around you. Pay attention when someone is looks like they're having a bad day or they may be going through something. Pull them to the side and ask about it. Show that you care. Show that you recognize that, hey, you're not as happy today as you usually are, or you're not smiling as much, or you seem to be down. Is everything okay? Check in on people. Everybody is going through a lot. There's a lot happening in our world, and then for those that are raising children, that brings another level of stress. And then just living life during a pandemic brings us such a level of stress. People are really struggling in life in general. So be that person that recognizes and catches, those little changes, those subtle changes in people's behavior, and really talk to them and really make a difference. Not just saying, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. If they're not really fine, a lot of times people will still say, "Oh, I'm fine. Everything's okay." But the person that really stops them to help them, that's genuine, that really wants to know, "No, seriously, how are you? You don't look like
Mhm.
yourself today," or "You look like you're going through something," or "Something's on your mind." What's on your mind? That
Mhm.
extra step will really help people relax and really begin to share and open up because they see that you really genuinely care. So take that extra step as a leader. Make sure that people know that you care about them. So that's going to be your challenge for this week, is to observe the people around you and look for needs that they might have, and look for ways that you can meet those needs. How can you help make a difference in their life individually and then
Mhm.
in the team's life? Look for ways that you can make a difference.
Yes, this stuff matters. As you can see, creating a sense of belonging is a process, and you can
Yes.
help that process unfold. You have to help it no matter what your role in the company. Somebody new comes in, they work for you or you work with them. You've got to help them get a sense of belonging. And that's why you come to here to tune in, because this is how you become a better you. This is how you become a better leader. You start to understand this stuff and you start to have these powerful tools at your disposal, because these are tools. They are, they're
Yes.
powerful, and they're the most important tool for the new world of work. No question about it.
Yes. Just take one
So,
thing at a time. Don't get overwhelmed with how many things that need to get done. Just find one thing at a time. Take your time and go through one step at a time, and just change one thing and then change another thing and then change another thing. And before you know it, your organization is thriving.
yeah, big time. Well, listen, next week we're going to talk about how do you take those roots that are growing and make them grow even deeper, because that's the next step in the process, right? This is belonging. It develops over time. As Terry said, that tenured person with 22 years of service, they may be pulling the roots in, right? You want people to not only grow incredibly deep roots and stay, you want them to have roots that are always deep in your soil. So we'll talk about how to make the roots grow deeper. Very important. And we'll see you next week on Creating Cultures that Outperform. The roots grow deeper.
Yes. Bye for now.
Take care.